Greg Pickle from Blue White
go ahead
Illustrated.
and
It's a
unmute
pleasure
yourself.
to talk to you tonight.
Oh, sorry, now I can hear you.
David, Greg Pickle from Blue White Illustrated. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
What does it mean to be representing the U.S. on such a big stage? And what has the process just been like getting there, getting settled in, and obviously being pretty close to competition now?
Well, I think it's always an honor to be able to, represent the United States, and this is the best way that I can do that. So I'm just looking forward to competing. It's been a long process to get here, especially with it. Just the process of my entire life to prepare for this, but also then it being delayed, for an entire year. But, we have our interviews done a really good job, and we're here acclimating right now. And I think we're 2 weeks from today from competing. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
All right, thanks, Greg. We'll move on to Rachel, who has a question for Gable. It's unmuted, yeah. Go ahead, Rachel.
Hey, Gable. There's no bigger stage than the Olympic Games, and everybody knows that you are a real showman. What do you want to do at the Olympic Games? And obviously, you want to win a medal, but are you looking to put on a show here, a show that rises to the Olympic level?
Yeah, I think my goal is always to entertain the people that are watching at home and put on a good name for USA and for all my teammates too. To go out there rest of the Olympic Games is a great honor, and the showmanship is what I do, and I'm gonna just go out there and make sure everybody is happy with my results at the end of the day.
All right, thanks, Rachel. We'll move on to Zach Allen, who has a question for David Taylor. Go ahead.
Hi, David. My name's Zach Allen, and I'm from the Daily Collegian. Obviously, you wrestled at Penn State for your whole collegiate career. How special is it that Kale, Cody, and Casey are making the trip to Tokyo, and how does their presence impact you?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I just remember back, I was just kind of thinking through it, reflecting. I remember when I chose to go to Penn State, I felt like this coaching staff could not only help me reach my goals in my college career, but I believe that they could help me reach my goals post-college. And I've always had, international aspirations. So it's exciting to be here, with this staff and really, have the opportunity to win an Olympic gold medal for the United States with a coaching staff that I went to college with and can now continue to fulfill my dreams at the highest level. So definitely comfortable with them and grateful for all of their help and guidance.
All right, next we have a question from Matt Barnes. Matt, it just says Kyle. We've got Kyle Dick and Kyle Snyder. If you could unmute and let us know which one you're looking to talk to.
Yeah, this is for Kyle Snyder, and sorry for the noise. We're on a shuttle. But Kyle, just obviously second Olympics. This one's going to be drastically different than the last one with COVID and everything like that. Just how have you seen it different so far? I know you guys are a little bit away from the village, but just what's the experience been like so far as you've gone through the training and all that?
It's been pretty similar to Rio because, we were in the village for 3 days in Rio, but then we went to another place to train for the rest of the Olympics, and that was the last day of competition in Rio, and be the same way here in Tokyo. So, for me, it's been pretty similar. Just get in here and get adjusted, and still got some good training left where I can get some good work in and compete. The opening ceremony and all that stuff is fun, but the most fun part is just being able to hang out with other great guys and wrestlers and train with them and then the competition. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Thanks, Matt. Chris Walker for Kyle Snyder. Go ahead and unmute, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Kyle. Wanted to ask if you could describe why you made the move to train at Penn State when you did, and now that you have some time and perspective on that, what do you think you've gotten out of that experience?
Yeah, it was a long process of, just figuring out where was the best place for me to go. And my wife was applying to medical school, so where I knew at first wherever she was going to get in was where I was going to go and train. But then she said that I should just pick where I feel like the best training environment is. And I spent some time at Penn State even while I was in college training. So I guess they had there and the coaches, and it would make sense for me to be there. So the decision has been a great decision. I've gotten a lot better since I've been there, and yeah, I love the people I'm around, and so it's all been really good.
Okay, we'll move on to Zach Allen. Zach's Zoom cut out, and he's going to ask, chat with David Taylor again. So.
Sorry, David, my Zoom cut out when I asked that question. It was the same one about how Kale, Cody, and Casey are making the trip to Tokyo and what their impact is.
So yeah, I would think, when I chose to go to Penn State, it was not only for my collegiate career, but I wanted to go where I felt like coaching staff could help me progress towards my international career. And I've always had aspirations to win an Olympic gold medal. So it's pretty exciting to really be in the opportunity that we're in, be with this coaching staff that I chose 10 years ago and be able to develop this entire process with them. So it's excited for, their guidance, their experience, and looking forward to just, make this reality in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. So we'll move on to NBC Next Star, who has a question for Thomas Gilman.
All right. Hey, Thomas, this is Justin Cerncy, working with Next Star out of Des Moines, Iowa. Congratulations. There's been a long string of ties of Iowa wrestlers to the Olympics, and you continued that streak by joining the team. Does that streak hold a sense of pride for you from former, whether it's Iowa Hawkeyes or people born in the state of Iowa, and also being your first Olympics? Is it going to be hard for you being without family to also enjoy this experience with you?
I don't really think too much about it. I'm really just doing this for myself. Obviously I made the transition from Iowa to Penn State, and so I have a lot of pride representing that program now, but obviously there's a lot of pride, coming from the state of Iowa and being an Olympian representing my hometown and my home state. Is it going to be hard? No, I don't think so. All of us been doing this for 20 years. We've been training our whole lives for this, and we just gotta go out and enjoy the process. Just be grateful and thankful for the opportunity to be here, and just go out and do our best. And if we do that, then we'll be on top at the end of the day.
We'll go back to Matt Barnes, who has a question for David Taylor.
Yeah, David, obviously it's your first Olympics, and the opening ceremony is in a couple of days. Is there a part of you that wishes you kind of had the Olympic experience and be able to walk in that opening ceremony? It's not often, obviously, people get to Olympics and get to see that part of it.
I think just, relating to other people with experience, and Kyle talked about this a few minutes ago. I think, there's an element to this being a different Olympic Games, but we've trained our whole life to wrestle in the Olympics, to have the opportunity to win a gold medal in the Olympics. And I don't think I've ever dreamt about walking in the ceremonies. And that would have been awesome and cool. But I'm just excited to be here, and I'm excited to compete in 2 weeks.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to Baltimore Sun, who has a follow-up question for Kyle Snyder.
Yeah, hey Kyle. I know you've always sort of embraced difficult matchups and pain. Do you, in that sense, is it motivating to have Sadulayev in your weight class in these Olympics? And do you put extra effort into preparing for him as you prepare for these games, or is it more about preparing for yourself?
Yeah, it's motivating. I'm excited to have Russia and Iran, there, and those are guys that I'm looking forward to competing against. And the most important part of the preparation is getting myself ready and working on the things that are going to be beneficial versus any of my opponents. So, but yeah, I'm motivated and ready to wrestle those guys.
Can't hear.
Cool. We'll go to Matt Kuzla next for Gable Stevenson. I also want to remind you guys we have two-time world champion Kyle Dake on the call as well.
Hey, Gable. What's been the biggest challenge for you during this past year of uncertainty? And because you're doing it for yourself without loved ones or friends here with you, how do you pay tribute to them, or how are you going to pay tribute to them in a unique situation?
I know my family back home is watching me, and they're going to pay close attention, and I stay in good contact with everyone back home. So I know the whole USA is rooting for me, especially my close family and friends. So I'm grateful for that to happen to us. With the past year, with the uncertainty of COVID and everything that has happened to us, I think we're all really grateful to be here. We're all happy to put our shoes on the mat and represent Team USA and go put on a good show for everybody back home. And we hope to come back with some major hardware. And I know our team can do it. I'm just happy to be here with the guys that I'm with here right now. It's a real that I grew up watching guys like David, Kyle, Thomas, and Dake. So to be here sitting in this room and to be here on this stage with them is crazy to me. And so I'm just gonna soak it in and do the best I can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Matt. Next, we'll go to Matt Matt Barnes for Kyle Dake.
Yeah, Kyle, congratulations, of course, making your first Olympics as well. What's the experience been like? I mean, you guys just got to Japan. You're still 2 weeks away from competition, so a lot of training to go. But I know for you, just following your Instagram and everything, how excited you are to get going in this. So what's it been like?
Yeah, it's been a very different experience than one that I had expected before the pandemic. Obviously, that changes a lot of things, but just getting settled, trying to get into a routine while we're out here so we can get adjusted and still continue to put the razor's edge on and be sharp. We're 2 weeks away from competition, and I think that, making adjustments, being out here in Nakatsugawa actually has been really nice. Not having to deal with the hustle and bustle of Tokyo and kind of just focus on yourself and focus on the training. That's something that I really value. So I'm just really excited to be out here and in country and, be able to go put on a show.
Thanks, Matt. We'll go to NBC Next Star as a follow-up for Thomas Gilman.
Hey, Thomas, Justin here again. Tell me a little bit about, you being in the country of Japan now and that experience, how excited you are as we lead up to, you being able to take to the mat. And then also, how do you put away all the distractions with, maybe athletes who have already tested positive and just keep that laser focus? There's so much that could sidetrack an athlete out here this time in Tokyo, but it seems like you got your mind.
Yeah, so the first answer to that question, it's amazing being here in Japan, here in Nakatsugawa. You see a lot of things on the internet and in the news back in the States and how, maybe, Japanese people don't want the games to go on, but, here it's been a very warm welcome. We're driving to practice yesterday and the streets are lined with people waving the American flag, cheering us on, having words on signs, words of encouragement, words of love, so that, it's just been a very surreal. It's been just kind of almost emotional. Like, it's amazing that, the welcome that we have here. Cause if you just watch the news and you're kind of stuck up in the things going on in America, you would think that they wouldn't want us here, but they want nothing more than to welcome us and help us out and really, really cheer for us, even though we're not from the same nation. As far as being focused, I really believe that, there's a lot of things out of our control, whether it's, a pandemic or not. There's a lot of hustle and bustle, media and the games and everything, but there's a lot of things that we can focus on, a lot of things that are within our control, and that's the only thing we need to worry about. I can't worry about people testing positive or the news, the games canceled, not canceled. You can't worry about that. Those things that we here can't control. So the things that I can control is my weight, my nutrition, my training, my conditioning, my strength, my mind, where that's at. So just worrying about those things and just worrying about myself and controlling the things I can control and let everything else kind of take care of itself. So I'm just believing that, God has a plan and I just stick to the path and everything will be all right.
Thanks, Justin. We've got a question from Rachel Blount for Gable Stevenson.
Hey, Gable, you're still fairly new to the senior international level. What can you tell us about some of the guys that you expect to face, and how have you been preparing for a level where you'll be wrestling some people that you are not as familiar with?
I mean, I prepare to wrestle on the biggest stage of my life every day. This is really not new. The guys I'm gonna wrestle, they're really good, Olympic champs, world champs, but it's Olympic Games. Everybody here is coming here to make a name for themselves, and I'm just gonna show up and do my job, and I know my training's gonna pay off. I know everything's gonna pay off for me, and August 6th, I believe, I should be standing on top of that podium with that gold medal around my neck.
Thanks, Rachel. We'll go to Zach Allen, who has a question for Kyle Snyder, Thomas Gilman.
Hey, Kyle. You, Thomas, and David are all part of the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club, and I was just wondering, how has the NLWC prepared you guys for the Olympics, and if there are any challenges you guys have faced in training for the Olympics?
We haven't had much challenges, and yeah, I mean they do a great job taking care of us. I mean, we have a really strong regional training center, and I think we got 7 Olympians, not including just us who are wrestling for Team USA, but some from Mexico, Uzbekistan, Puerto Rico. So we got a really strong RTC, and just trust that the coaches know what we should be working on and how we should be training, and they're very smart. They've been doing it for a long time and been very successful. So I know that they're gonna they do everything that they can to prepare us.
Gilman.
Same question?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, so you talked about it with David, having all the coaches here. It's pretty amazing that, and it's a unique situation where you come to the Olympic Games and you have 2 of your teammates on the team and your whole coaching staff. So I'm very grateful and thankful for that. I touched on earlier, there are a lot of things like within our control, but there are also things out of our control. And luckily, with us and our coaching staff, they kind of take that burden from us. They kind of make it well known that, hey, these are things that you don't need to worry about, and we're going to take care of it. And so at the end of the day, you can sleep easy because that there are some things that you don't have to worry about as far as, where your nutrition is going to come from, who's going to make sure the bus is on time, who's going to get the bike when you need it. They have all that taken care of. There's just one less thing we have to worry about. And so they're just a great and amazing support staff, not only on the mat, obviously on the mat, with the technique and the tactical aspect of it and doing things coaches do, they do that very well. Everyone knows that, but the things that people don't see is the logistics and the night without sleep, staying up, making sure we have everything we need, making sure everything's prepared for the next day. So, and beyond that, it's amazing to be able to train with David and Kyle, every single day. We have the same mission, same goals, same aspirations, and training with those guys and being motivated by them and motivating them, and then being here and seeing it through, not only the process, but the end goal. So I'm really excited to, compete. This is the last step. So excited to see everything through with our whole team, our coaches and our team.
I don't know if I can say it any better than Thomas just said it, but I just think the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club is really unique because it's so professional, and it's probably the only place that, I think it's the freestyle guys are such a priority, and obviously in our preparation and our practices, and our coaches put a lot of time into it being separate times. I mean, they put a lot of extra stuff on their plate to make sure that they're preparing the collegiate wrestlers as well as they're preparing the Inline Wrestling Club wrestlers. And we're preparing for different events throughout the year at different times. This year, the Olympics being the primary thing and working backwards. So it's just nice and reassuring. There's not many places that we have 3 Olympic champions that, Jake Warner, Cale Sanderson, Kyle Snyder, that are there every single day. So in terms of what it takes to achieve something at the highest level, you just look to your coaches and your teammates, and you just kind of do what they do. So I think we have a great plan in place. As Tom said, our coaches are there to really kind of take so much off of our plate in terms of preparation and logistics of what we're going to do and how we're going to feel. I mean, we just basically are focused on continuing to stick with our plan that we've had. And we have a lot of faith in that. So now this is the most fun part. When you're 14 days out of competing, you've put so much work in, so much preparation. Now it's about just fine tuning the little things, having faith and believing in your abilities and your preparation, which I believe 100% in all of those categories. And it's really nice to have that support system all here with us right now.
Thank you, guys.
Charles Walker, who has questions for the Penn State guys?
Yeah, kind of for the same 3 guys and along similar lines. Focusing particularly on Cale Sanderson, why is he such an effective coach? And I mean, we all know what a great wrestler he was. How does he sort of pour that into his coaching?
I mean, Coach Cale he cares so much about all of his athletes. It's amazing to be as accomplished as he has been athletically and from a coaching side point, but he's so humble, and he preaches obviously humility and just making the best every single day. So I think just continue to, it's really remarkable with the athletes, the elite athletes that he's coached over the last 10 years. In every single category. I think his coaching has definitely changed over time. But he's just one of those guys. He has a very calming presence, and you just know that everything he says, there's a reason for what he's saying. And it's always to try and help you be the best, not only wrestler that you can be, but also the person that you can be. So when you have someone like that again in your corner, it's just that calming presence of reassuring that he has your back 100%. So Coach Cale is a very, very accomplished coach, very accomplished athlete, but he's also just a mentor. And for me personally, I've been around the Sanderson family since I was a little kid. His dad, Steve Sanderson, was one of my first coaches. So I've been around, Coach Cale, Coach Cody, their dad, Steve, their brother, Cole, and Kyler, almost my entire life, So I think they've had such an impact on me, and it's goes well deeper and way more than just from a wrestling standpoint. So just obviously really grateful to have.
I think we're back.
Thomas Gilman will be running.
Could you just repeat that question, please?
Yeah, sure. I was just saying, I wanted to focus in on Cale Sanderson in particular, and why he's an effective coach and how he kind of pours his own experience as an elite wrestler into that.
Yeah, I think for me, you look at leaders and you look for two qualities. One is lead by example, and the other one is you want your, let's call them disciples. You want them to do what you did and then surpass you, and that takes a ton of humility, because once you reach a certain level, it's hard to want people to surpass you. So Coach Cale, he does both those things. He leads by example. The things that he says. All right, so we lost you again. What was the last thing you heard?
You were talking about the humility that it takes to sort of want the people who work with you to surpass you.
Right. So the humility. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, you see both those in Coach Cale. think I was saying he leads by example as well. You know, he's not just telling you things to tell you to try to get you to do something. He's acting those things out every single day. I think that's something that another thing that's really important to realize and recognize about Coach Kale is what we're doing, what he's doing is more than just sport. It's more than just wrestling. Of course, we want to be on the top of the medal stand. Of course, we want to win. You know, that's why we're here, but it's bigger than that. And this thing we're doing is bigger than us. You know, it's about, you know, his job is more than developing champions. It's about developing young men into great leaders to take the torch when he's done. And so something he always talks about that really resonates with me. It's like, it's not really about winning, even though it kind of is, but it's not about winning. It's about just doing your best every single day in everything you do, not just the sport. And so he kind of develops his college guys and us as RTC members into well-rounded human beings. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is being humble, being able to lead by example, and just trying to just do our best in all aspects of life. So that's something I really learned from Coach Kale and really appreciate him as a leader. Here's
Should we answer the same question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about Coach Kale is just how much he loves wrestling, and you know, he still is wrestling with us, and he's always got a fresh, positive attitude coming into training and competition and all that. So, and it's not something you can't really fake the way that you feel about the sport, and you can tell by the way that, I don't know, just kind of tell by the way people act and when they're out on the mat and stuff like that. And he really loves wrestling. So I appreciate that. And when your leader loves what they do, it just spreads to the rest of the people.
All right, Les Carpenter from Washington Times has a question. We'll send over to Kyle Dave.
Hey everyone, I just wanted, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just wanted to kind of on what was talked about earlier with the kind of welcoming crowds and the town where you are. Was that a surprise for you? I mean, how big is kind of this welcome you're getting from everyone? And also, are you paying any attention to some of the talk in Tokyo about some of the positive tests that have happened in the village, or is that just so far away it's not something you're thinking about?
When we came to Nakatsugawa, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew we were going to, you know, be received with open arms, but I didn't really know, you know, what that would look like. So, like Thomas was saying yesterday, we were, you know, driving our bus to practice, and the streets were just lined with people. You know, they let schools out of class to come down to the road, wave their American flags. They were all wearing red, white, and blue, and, you know, just cheering and yelling at us. And, you know, everyone had their phone out and, you know, wanted to see us, which was pretty amazing. And, you know, to feel that, you know, that support from not only Americans, but also from, you know, people of a different country, your host city, is like, I didn't know what to think. You know, it was pretty amazing. And then, you know, when we got to our wrestling room, they had people in, you know, way up in the stands who were just cheering for us and wanted to see us, you know, just practice. They wanted to be around us. And I feel like that's a little bit of the Olympic experience that I was looking forward to. And I know it was going to be a lot different, you know, being in the stands, nobody being able to watch us live, but, you know, that little consolation prize was nice. And as far as, you know, people testing positive in the village, we're so far away that I don't really, you know, take notice to it. I can only focus on myself, keep myself as healthy as possible, make sure I'm doing all the right things, getting enough sleep, getting outside, you know, drinking the right water, eating the right food, and, you know, just preparing in every way I know how.
We've got another question from Matt Barnes for Kyle Snyder.
Yeah, Kyle, you're not the old guy of this group, but you are the veteran of this group when it comes to the Olympics. Just what have you told the other guys about what they can expect, and just what experience can you give them, and advice can you give them as they get ready for these next 2 weeks?
Not much. They do a good job on their own, Dave's world champ, Dake's world champ, Gilman's world finalist, Gable world champ at, Dave's own competitions, and soon to be, Lord willing, Olympic champ. So, these guys are beasts, and the competition is the same, and they know how to prepare. And so I don't really need to say much to anybody. Just continue to train and do my best. And yeah, the good thing about us is these are like some of my best friends. So that's the cool part about this group. And it's not like one person is leading each other other than our coaches, we all just get better around each other. So
cool. We'll go to Kyle Dake for a question.
Hey Kyle, this is Jason Knapp with NBC, and this is for you and for anybody else. You guys have all wrestled at the highest levels in front of big crowds a ton of times. You also work really hard in the room when nobody's watching. You talked about having fans there watching you practice. Nobody really is going to be in the venue. Is there anything you could do to simulate that? It's not like it's going to be a small room. It's going to be a big building with not a lot of noise after going back to fans at trials. Is there anything you can do to help that? Because you guys a lot of times are able to ride crowd noise to your benefit.
Yeah, that's going to be, I don't really see it as a challenge. I kind of see it as it's going to be more like a simulation. And even when I'm out there, when I wrestle, the first thing I do is I look up to see the lights, get my bearings on everything, look for my family in the stands. I won't need to be doing that, unfortunately, but it's the same size mat. There's going to be 3 referees out there. My coach is going to be in one of the corners, and I'm going to be wearing red or blue singlet. So I know that I'm going to go out there and do the same exact things that I always do. And whether there's a crowd there or not, I don't really hear the crowd. I never really see them until after the match. If there's a crazy sequence on a mat next to me, usually I'll look over because I hear the crowd if there's a break in the action. But I try to stay locked in and focused on the task at hand, which is to score that next point and to hold really good position.
All right, thanks, Jason. We'll go over to Rachel Black, who has a question for Gable.
Gable, can you just tell us what your Olympic experience has been like so far? What was it like to do the team processing, to get your Team USA gear, to come into the town where you guys are training with your teammates? What's the whole thing been like for you so far?
The whole thing is crazy. I'm on the Olympic team, so that's like the most surreal moment. But other than that, we're getting treated good here. Everything's solid. Training's well. My Olympic experience is not what it probably should be in the past recent years, but it's all good, and we're just gonna keep living it up.
All right, that's all the questions I have for athletes. We can make Coach Zadek available for a question or two.
Coach, my question is about Gable Steveson, a young him who is fairly new to senior level international competition, a kid who really likes to put on a show. How do you kind of guide him through this and keep him on track, make sure he doesn't get overexcited, and how do you guide him through his first Olympic experience?
Yeah, we work closely with his personal coaches. And, I think some of the other athletes spoke about it. That Gable's been on some big stages, and he's no stranger to elite level competition. He's a 3-time age group world champion. He's an NCAA champion. And those are big stages, right? The Olympic is the biggest of all, but it really is no different than any other high level competition. And so we kind of remind them of that, and then just keep focused on the details and what we need to do. And he's a tremendous athlete. So we keep focused on that and just our job at hand. And that helps keep us grounded and ultimately be able to step on the mat with feeling open-minded and free, so we don't feel external pressure and just go wrestle or perform our best. And so I think Gable's doing a great job of that. And he's one of those athletes that he likes the attention, he likes the hype, he likes the energy, and I think that's ultimately going to respond well to that, and it will only enhance his performance.
All right, Les Carpenter.
Hey, good to see you. Glad you.
Hey, Les, how you doing?
Some of the guys were talking about.
I think we have a little bit of a
expect kind of a thing, kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, I think we have a little spotty connection, and I missed the first part of your question.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's still kind of in and out.
Come back to me.
I heard that clearly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Anyway, some of the guys were talking about the welcome that you've gotten in that town and the people on the streets. Was that a surprise? Was that what was that kind of like for you?
Yeah, I mean, working logistics ahead of time, we knew that the city was working very hard to help put this together for us. And Mr. Mariyama and his family that are hosting us here in Nakatsugawa. So we kind of had some lead in that they were excited that it was, we were going to have a nice welcome. But as we were driving to practice yesterday and we're kind of zigzagging through the town, and there's, school children and adults and older people on the side, like the athlete said, waving an American flag and having signs of encouragement, great big banners and things, go Team USA. Just kind of sat back and took it in as a special moment. Like it was really, really unique. Like where else in the world do you go to a foreign land and they're cheering you on and rooting for you and wanting you to perform at your best. And so, yeah, it's a really cool experience, and it was humbling and inspiring at the same time. So, yeah, we've had a very warm and gracious welcome, and they've been great hosts for us here in Nakatsugawa.
All right, we'll go to Child's Blocker, and we will wrap up with this question.
Hey, Coach. I know you've watched Kyle Snyder wrestle for a long time. How would you describe his form and his mentality going into this one? After I know he was probably not entirely satisfied with some of his performances in 18 and 19.
Yeah, I've had an opportunity to work with Kyle since he was a young man and watch him continue to grow and develop. And I think he's on a good trajectory now. I think he always has been. He's a unique individual. He's of course a great athlete, but his mind and his just life philosophy is what makes Kyle the most unique. And really, it's what his parents gave him and what he continues to take through his course of life that separates him from others. And I think he looks really sharp right now. I'm really excited for him. I think his mind is in a great place. I think he's going to compete at a super high level, and I think it's going to be really fun and exciting to watch.